you know.
If you've been raised or in an era of being a people pleaser, though, even if you get the strength to say what you think, the reaction is not always a comfortable experience. I was reading recently your thoughts on lockdown, and you just thought it was an absolute load of BS, and you fought against it. And I can only imagine the reaction to you being bold and saying how you actually felt. How do you feel then when you see the reactions roll in? Does it roll over you now, or is it still, do people's thoughts and opinions on you still matter to you and affect you?
Oh, I think it's really important that you let it wash over you, that you don't really buy into it, because, as I said, we are living in a society where we are programmed to have that sort of, those differences, and that kind of edginess is something that's become very much a part of our social construct. I don't really take it anymore. I just sort of leave it for what it is. I understand that people will disagree, and I'm okay with that, because I'm okay with the notion of agreeing to disagree. But that's a notion that I've been, that I've found comfort in for a long time. It's not anything that's radically new, you know.
It is that time. We've got to play some ads and pay the bills, but we're not finished with the wonderful Tina Arena. More with her coming up very soon.
Carrie and Tommy.
What does Tina Arena do for fun? I'm just wondering. I'm just interested in the spirit inside. What do you do with yourself? What gets you up and about and happy?
Well, I like to cook. So there'll always be someone around the table. There'll always be great discussion. There'll be good laughter. There's a great ability to be able to laugh at oneself. Just do normal things. I know, I'm not really much different to most people. I love getting out in the garden. I love catching up with friends, seeing family, talking about things, going to do interesting things. I love going to the gallery, love going to see a show, love doing things like that.
Your food, you would be an amazing cook.
I'm okay. Listen, nobody's dead yet.
Talk.
There's a lot of French cooking?
There's a bit of everything. There's a bit of everything. I mean, my man certainly hasn't complained. He's sort of gone, Jesus. I said to him today, do you want any lunch? He goes, no. Oh, okay.
Isn't that the way to a man's heart? Through his tummy?
He's like, yeah, I'm not quite sure he really wants me to sort of get to him through his stomach though at the moment. I think he'd be quite happy if it reduced slightly. But, poor darling.
No, we were in France a few weeks ago. There's always this perception that French people are rude. You hear about French people being rude, and we were saying how delightful they all were.
Yeah, they
What
are.
experience is more accurate?
Oh, look, what I really do love about the French, and I have to hand it to them, is they stand up for what is right. They've got their boundaries. And it's like, which is something that, I think we're all sort of learning about now, really. I mean, I have my boundaries. I'm Sicilian. If I'm going to call you an idiot, I will call you an idiot. I don't care if you get offended. If you say something stupid, I'll call you out on it. I'll just go, that was really dumb to say that. But they call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
that's just part of their culture.
When we were there, it was just shortly after they tried to put speed cameras on the freeways, and they all got out on the freeway, protested them, tore them down and burnt them.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought it was the greatest thing ever, and I was trying to rally the troops back home here
I know,
to
Tommy,
do the same
listen,
thing.
you and me both, we could have campaigned against that, shown them how it was done.
Oh.
And I'm sure our state government here would have loved every second of that.
It'd be me and you. And we'd go, come on,
Outside your
everybody.
5K
and
radius.
No one else with us.
It's about expressing your feelings, ladies and gentlemen.
Last question before we wrap up.
Can I ask one? I just wanted to ask, because you mentioned a number of record sales before, and I think you might be surprised by, because obviously when we get a guest on, we get some kind of facts and figures about number of record sales. Do you know how many albums you've sold?
I think so. But I mean, remember, Tommy, the industry, I'm not really sure that you're ever going to have an incredibly accurate number. And I love things to be accurate. So I know there's been a few copies a few.
Well, the possibly inaccurate number we've been given is 10 million albums, and I was just thinking about that because I thought how amazing for any room in Australia that you walk into, 1 in 2 people has bought an album.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Isn't that a wonderful feeling?
That still blows my mind. It really does. That's what I mean. I mean, I'm 55 years old. Like, I'm at a point in my life where there's been a lot of beautiful times. There's been so much upheaval. I guess because I do think a little bit differently and because I want transparency, and it seems to be the hardest thing for anybody to achieve these days when everything's so opaque. I'm like, my world needs to be transparent. If you want to live in the dark, that's your choice. I choose to live in the light. So,
Tina, we want to talk about your new music which has dropped. We're going to do that next.
Carrie and Tommy. Carrie and Tommy.
It's time to talk about your new album, Love Saves. It is out now. What's it about?
My new record, Love Saves, is about the trajectory of 2 years of being locked up, the breakdown of a very long relationship, the breaking down of a family unit. So going through not only the trauma of being locked up unfairly without any kind of honesty, and then you throw into that a relationship falling apart, not being able to travel, doing all of that, a teenager not being able to go to school, not coping very clearly. You know, there's a lot that went on during that time, and I'm excruciatingly grateful to music because it saved me from falling down a very deep hole. And to be able to put it out into music is extraordinary, and that is the reason why I think that this new record is very, very, very much going to connect with particularly women, but I think with anybody.
Well, I think we've got one of them to play now, Dancing on Thin Ice. This is from your new album.
Tina, the brand new album, Love Saves, is out now, but also, and this is what I'm excited about as well, you're touring. You can catch Tina Arena on tour this October. Just head to tinaarena.com.
2 questions that I needed to get out there. First of all, one that you brought to me, that your name is Filipina Lydia Arena. Is that true?
It was Filipina. It was named after my mum's mother.
And where did that become Tina?
Well, because the last 4 letters are Pina, P-A-N-A. So when I started on TV, John Young said to my folks, what do you think if we change the letter from a P to a T? I thought, I mean, I was a kid. I didn't know. I was like, that sounds fine. And so my parents were like, that's fine, anglicise it. It's
but even
not
that
a drama.
makes me angry. Why do people just have their name changed?
Oh, look,
it's not your name.
No, I know. But nobody called me. Mum and Dad never called me Filipina. Mum and Dad only called me Pina. And
Pina Arena.
Pina. But, you know, I can't tell you the creative names and that came up as a result of Pina Arena. So, I mean, it was probably a very good thing that we did move on and change one letter.
The new album, Love Saves, is out now. We love you. Tina Arena, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for your time, you two. It's always a joy.
Carrie and Tommy.